everyone, and welcome. Sixth floor of the Pagoda here at IMS. Mike Tirico, NASCAR Hall of Famer. Dale Jarrett, twice a winner here at the Brickyard. We are all socially distanced. Dale, we are pleased to be joined by Mark Miles, who is the president CEO of IndyCar and Penske Group as well. And a lot to ask you about the weekend first. This is a pretty cool deal. It's a great way to celebrate America's birthday with America's biggest racing series combined at the same place on the same weekend for the first time.
Yeah, and welcome back to you guys. We're glad to have you here. We've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I think it's really meaningful for the future of motorsports to have the series working together, for all the COVID procedures and everything that everybody's going through to try to keep people safe, and ultimately to racing and what's going on right now, converting this track. And can't wait to see the Xfinity guys go out there and see what they can do on this road course.
Yeah, we're both excited about that. The good news was the podium lift worked out just fine, and we've got Scott Dixon's car up there successfully.
Yeah, it's probably fitting that Scott would be the first guy to use this new innovation. You couldn't keep him off of Victory Circle here very long, and it did work, and so I'm really happy about that.
Let's get to some serious business for a minute before Dale and I jump in and talk about the racing that's ahead this weekend. Obviously, with the tenor and the tone of the conversation around the country over the last 4 weeks, diversity, inclusion, and equality has become a very significant part of the American sports conversation as well. And IndyCar and the series and IMS involved in an announcement this morning about what the next steps are for your group. Why don't you take us through that?
Yeah, well, we've been listening and reflecting and taking in everything that's happened in the country, and we believe this is a time where it's possible to have really systemic and fundamental change, and we want IndyCar and the IMS to be part of that change, to help lead that change. And so we are looking at doing several things, and this isn't a program that has a beginning and an end. This is the way we see ourselves in the future. We want to work on involving people of color in our workforce, team owners, drivers, crew members, really throughout the entirety of the people engaged in the sport, and across, from teams to our organizations to our promoters. We want to do that in a lot of ways, and one of them is to invest in minority communities and grassroots programs to help us reach out to people who would not normally be thinking about motorsports.
This race for equality and change includes $1 million towards that goal. I don't mean to ask you a hard question because you can't have all the answers right away, but this is not as simple as let's start a baseball league in an underserved city and we'll just throw out some baseball equipment or soccer or basketball. It costs money to race, and you've got to get people to fall in love with racing. How can you do that in disadvantaged communities?
Well, first of all, we did announce that we're going to put aside $1 million to try to fuel these various initiatives, one of which is these grassroots programs. We've been involved for 14 years with this one program, Next Gen Racers. I think you're going to show some video,
there it is right there.
That. This is unbelievable. It started here in Indianapolis, here at IMS. Rod Reed's the guy who started it and still runs it. I think last weekend we had about 20 young teenagers come out here. He puts them in fire suits. He teaches them how to race, at least in go-karts, and he exposes them to STEM education. And there's so much more to be done with this. And by the way, last weekend, Bubba called in, did a Zoom call, and those kids just lit up. It was great. It's really hard work. This is not change that happens overnight, but we're committed for the long haul to transform our sport.
Yeah, well, Mark, let me say I applaud you for that and all the efforts that are being made in those efforts. But let's talk about the rest of your season here. Things cranked up. It's been a great start to it. At least Scott Dixon thinks so, for sure. And but as you look ahead, you've got a lot of races coming up, and then certainly coming back here to run the Indianapolis 500 with fans in the stands. I think with this historic weekend, that's the one thing that I'm missing here, but that has to be exciting to look forward to.
Absolutely. Boy, do we miss the fans in this big place.
Yeah.
No, we're ready for a sprint to get here for the Indianapolis 500-mile race, I think, in 7 weeks. So we'll have a doubleheader next weekend that you all will be covering at Road America, and then we'll go to Iowa to be on a short oval for a doubleheader. Fantastic racing in both cases. Then we get to Mid-Ohio, and then we're back here. It won't be long, Mike. Keep your bags unpacked here.
We got August 23rd circled on the calendar. We know we've talked about fans. Any idea what the numbers are going to look like, and when you may have an idea of how you're going to find places and ways to get a number of folks here?
We've been working on that since March, and we work very closely with all the public health authorities in the city of Indianapolis, the state of Indiana, other medical and public health folks giving us advice, reviewing our plans. They keep evolving and being fine-tuned. We announced a week ago we won't have more than 50% of the capacity of the place with attendance here. It could be less than that. And, you know, we already said that we would be giving masks and disinfectant. A little secret, we'll take everybody's temperature before they come in, and much more to keep people safe.
Well, we look forward to the path between now and then, all the racing on NBC and NBCSN in between. I missed you on Memorial Day. It's good to see you on the 4th of July. Let's do it in August.
You bet.
Mark,
can't
great
wait.
stuff and a great weekend. Congratulations on getting this going.
Thank you, guys.
Mark Miles joining us.
Hey Motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.